Hey everybody, Hobby Drifter here with a look at TakaraTomy's Legends LG-60 Overlord. I was excited for this figure for any number of reasons. I'm a fan of Master Force, I love the character as written by James Roberts, and it's just a nice looking toy. And before it came in the mail, I expected this review to be a pretty simple one, but I'm happy to have been wrong about that. The box is pretty standard fare for the TF Legends line. It shows off the contents of the box via a window in front, has some nice artwork on the front and sides, and all the features of the toy are displayed on the back of the box. Strangely, the artwork and toy photography show off two different Overlord configurations simultaneously. A curious choice, but I'll get to that. Since being introduced in Master Force, Overlord has usually been a glorified duocon. The robot mode is made up of a combination of a jet and a tank, and the jet and tank modes here are totally fine. The jet is a bit stubby, and the tank is a brick. The tank's turret doesn't rotate, and there are very few moving parts at all on it. There are wheels on the underside, though. They don't roll terribly well, and they hinder stability in base mode. But since I am never, ever going to display this thing in anything other than bot mode, I don't really care. You've got your Blackbird jet and your funky colored tank. Both have opening cockpits for their respective headmaster pilots, and they're just generally fine. There's also what's called the Vehicle Combine mode, which is just the jet sitting on top of the tank. Possibly because somebody took a bet that they could make a bigger mockery of respective vehicle scales than Bruticus? I don't know. This configuration is nothing but goofy, and I love it. I really hope that there's some super obsessive Overlord fan out there who needs it displayed at all times, in all modes, and had to grudgingly pick up another just for this. And if that's you, please let me know in the comments. We can swap stories. There's also the obligatory base configuration called Fortress Base Mode. And, to be super honest, this looks pretty nice. It's definitely one of my favorite base modes in the line, and that may actually include Fort Max. Now, the robot modes. There are technically two of these. There's Overlord Giga, which is the G1 toy and cartoon-accurate configuration. The Takara release has a couple of molded Godmaster engines in the torso to help mimic the original toy and animation models. Also, the feet are positioned differently than the Hasbro release. This gives Overlord an extra few centimeters of height to better scale with Super Jinrai. This mode is what I bought the toy for, and I'm not disappointed at all. An Overlord that's actually somewhat to scale with a Super Jinrai figure, that's one of those things that I figured would be left to third-party groups, but here we are. Overlord Giga is very similar to the original Overlord toy, just with a few modern touches that give it more articulation, especially in the arms and legs. Waist articulation would have been nice, but it's fine. It is very easy to transform. Unlike a few other recent releases, and I'm looking right at you, God Bomber, it's a very simple, boxy robot. It doesn't have any radical engineering going on, and it doesn't need it. It's a perfect Overlord for your G1, Master Force, or IDW shelf. Then, there's Overlord Mega. This configuration moves the jet nose cone from the shoulder to the back, keeps the chest flaps shut, has the gun held in the left hand rather than the right, and has a more feminine face. Although, that face also looks a bit like the Master Force animation model, and the IDW comic version as drawn by at least one artist. This was the face that was shown in early pictures, leading some to believe it was the only face that had been included, and that turned more than a few people off. This configuration also resembles the Overlord that sits on the shelves of many collectors who found incomplete G1 Overlord toys at yard sales or flea markets. I doubt that was intentional, but there's a lot of weirdness going on with this. A lot of love for the original, so who knows. Now, I mentioned earlier how Overlord Giga and Overlord Mega are both shown on the box art, and that's because, in the included mini-comic, they're actually separate characters. That's right, in the universe shown in the pack-in comic, there are two Overlords existing simultaneously. And what's more, they can combine to form Overlord Tera. Mega, Giga, Tera. Get it? This isn't shown in the instruction manual, but there are some slots and pegs on the figure that allow for it to work. Here's as much of the combination as I can get with just one figure. And man, this takes some serious chutzpah on Takara's part. Hey, here's a combiner made up of two of the exact same 9,000 yen toy. Any takers? I probably won't be one of those takers, but I don't know, I guess if this video gets like 10,000 views, I'll do it just to have a follow-up. Overlord was released on January 27th, 2018 in Japan. It had an MSRP of about 9,000 yen, but was available for pre-order for less than 7,000. While the vehicle modes are just okay, they're totally on par with those of the original. The robot modes are what really sold me on the toy, and I'm very happy I got my pre-orders in. What do you think? Is the added cost of the TakaraTomy version justified? Or are you satisfied with the also nice Hasbro release? Are you bummed that the future Tactome Transformers will be identical to their Hasbro counterparts? Let me know down in the comments. I've been the Hobby Drifter. Thanks for watching this video. You can find me on Twitter @HobbyDrifter. Until all are one, take care and happy hobbying.